Let's keep it real for a second. Have you ever been doom scrolling through your feed, looking at everyone's highlight reels and suddenly felt small? Like everyone else is living this main character energy, looking better, making more money, traveling to places you can't pronounce, while you're just trying to survive a Tuesday? I know that feeling. It's heavy, and honestly, it sucks. But before you spiral, I want to share a life lesson story with moral value that totally shifted my perspective. It's a simple moment from nature that taught me how to stop suffering in life by changing one quiet mental habit. Even though this is a short motivational story, it hits different. Its message sticks with you way longer than a 15-second clip. So grab a coffee, get comfy, and stay with me, because this might just become your own personal life lesson story. Picture a deep green forest, maybe something like the Pacific Northwest, lush and alive. Down on the forest floor, there lived a tiny ant. She wasn't flashy, she was simple, brown, and totally focused on the grind. But for a long time, she was cool with that. She had this quiet pride. She carried food, engineered complex tunnels, and looked out for her crew. Her days were ordinary, sure, but she felt like she had a purpose. Then, one afternoon, the vibe shifted. The little ant climbed up a tall blade of grass to get a better view, and she saw him, a peacock. This guy was strutting like he owned the place, spreading that massive tail like a fireworks display in the middle of the day. The colors were insane, neon blues and greens shining in the sun. Every animal in the forest stopped dead just to stare. The tiny ant felt this sharp sting in her chest. Imposter Syndrome hit her hard. She thought, look at him, he's a masterpiece. And me? I'm just a speck of dirt. I'm literally invisible. That was the moment she fell into the comparison trap. As she kept walking, feeling low, she saw a butterfly floating on the breeze. Total clean girl aesthetic, effortless and graceful. The ant looked down at her own tiny scuttling legs and whispered, why am I stuck crawling in the mud? Why can't I just float through life like her? Even the squirrel triggered her, doing parkour from tree to tree, looking wild and free. The ant felt slow. She felt boring. She felt weak. This is exactly how suffering begins. It's not because life is actually unfair. It's because we start grading our behind the scenes against everyone else's trailer. Slowly, the ant quiet quit. She stopped working. She sat in a corner of the tunnel, silent and bitter. When her friends asked, hey, you good? She'd say, I'm fine. But we all know that means she definitely wasn't. She felt like she was shrinking. She was waiting for some external motivational video moment to save her, not realizing she had to save herself. You see, a great motivational story for students of life teaches us this. The world isn't hurting us. Our own perception is. Then one day, nature decided to humble everyone. The sky turned a bruised purple. The wind didn't just blow, it roared like a freight train. A massive storm ripped through the forest. We're talking hurricane-level chaos. Trees snapped, debris flew everywhere, and the riverbanks burst. The world above ground was a disaster zone. But below the ground, in those deep, boring tunnels the ants had built, it was a fortress. That simple, unglamorous work had created the only safe space for miles. Hours later, when the storm passed and the sun peeked out, the ant crawled outside, and what she saw changed her life. The butterfly was lying on a wet leaf, trembling. Her delicate wings were soaked and stuck together. She couldn't fly. The squirrel, usually so cocky, had lost his tree and was shivering in the mud, looking terrified. And the peacock, the influencer of the forest, he was in the worst shape. Those heavy, beautiful feathers were waterlogged, dragging him down into the dirt like an anchor. Suddenly, it clicked. The very things the ant had been jealous of were the things that failed them when reality hit. Her tiny legs, the ones she hated, were steady and strong in the mud. Her colony, the home she thought was lame, was the only reason she was safe. This was the moment the moral lesson became clear. It was the moment that taught her to be wise, not right. She realized that being right about how unfair life is
doesn't help anyone, but being wise about your own strengths, that changes everything. The ant didn't gloat, she called her squad, and like a little army of compassion, they marched out. They carried the butterfly on a leaf towards a patch of sunlight so her wings could dry. They gathered soft, dry moss so the squirrel could warm up. They worked tirelessly through the muck to clean the mud off the peacock's feathers. They chose to be kind, not blind. They refused to be blind to the pain of others, even the ones who used to make them feel small. When the animals recovered, the vibe was different. There was respect. The peacock looked at the tiny ant and said, "I might have the feathers, but you've got the heart." The squirrel nodded and whispered, "Real strength isn't about how high you can jump, it's about who you lift up when they fall." In that moment, the ant finally understood the true motivational moral story. The things she thought were flaws were actually her superpowers. The things she admired were fragile. This is the ultimate inspirational life lesson story. You don't have to be the loudest, the brightest, or the most followed to matter. You just have to show up with the strengths you already have. The world doesn't need you to be someone else. It needs you to be useful, steady, kind, and 100% you. So, here is your takeaway. How to stop suffering in life? Stop wishing for someone else's inventory and start playing with your own character. Now, if this story helped you see your own value, go ahead and poke that like button. Don't worry, it's not as heavy as a wet peacock feather. And if you want to weather life's storms with a squad that gets it, subscribe to Motive Heaven. It's cozy in here, and we promise to keep the doom scrolling to a minimum. See you in the next one.